They expected you to explode, scream, cry, demand apologies, and throw words like broken glass across the room. They wanted the drama. They wanted the emotional meltdown. They wanted proof that they still mattered enough to shake you, but you gave them something far more dangerous: indifference. They hate that you're not raging, not arguing, not trying to prove your side. They were prepared for a battle and found no opponent. Your silence turned the war into a funeral, and they're the only ones mourning something that you already buried long ago. They don't understand how someone who once cared so deeply could switch off the light and walk out of the room without hesitation. They don't understand that caring has a limit, and they pushed you right past it. Now, they're standing on the ashes of something they started, wondering how you managed to walk away without getting burned. They hate that you're not angry, because anger would mean you still feel something. Anger is still involvement. Anger still means the heart is engaged, but you're beyond that stage. You're not fighting. You're finished, and finished is a power they never expected you to have. They were ready with manipulations, excuses, half-truths, and sweetened lies. They thought they could reel you back in with guilt or guilt, shaming, but you didn't argue or stay to negotiate. You nodded, understood, and left. That terrified them more than any confrontation ever could. They hate that you figured them out, not loudly, not dramatically, just quietly, like someone closing a book that they had already finished reading. You noticed the patterns. You measured their actions. You connected the dots. And once the truth was complete, you chose peace over participation. They never expected you to choose the exit. They thought you would stay out of habit, familiarity, fear, attachment, or emotional loyalty. But you changed roles from someone who tried to save the relationship to someone who realized they were saving themselves instead. Now, they're the ones trying to catch up with the reality they created. They hate that you didn't wait for apologies. Apologies would mean closure, and closure would give them a sense of control. But you didn't need closure. You gave it to yourself. When someone no longer needs answers, the person withholding them loses all power. They can't accept that you don't care enough to be angry. That's the blow they never saw coming. They thought they injured the heart, not realizing they only exposed its strength. People become done only after they've spent every last attempt trying to make something work. They hate that they don't get to witness your breakdown, that there is no emotional performance for them to enjoy, no weakness left to exploit, no openings to re-enter. You didn't collapse. You shut the door and the chapter in the entire story. And what's scarier is that you did it without a single word. They're replaying every mistake in their head, trying to figure out where you finally checked out. Was it the lie, the disrespect, the silence? They don't know because your final straw happened quietly. They didn't see the switch flip. They only saw the aftermath once the light went out. They hate that your silence is your revenge, not the dramatic kind, the permanent kind. Silence is the Joker's sharpest weapon, and you wielded it perfectly because silence forces a person to sit alone with themselves, and they don't like the reflection that stares back. They hate that you didn't need closure from them because you learned a most important lesson. Closure doesn't come from someone who broke you. It comes from the strength to walk away without needing them to understand why. They hate that you stopped explaining yourself. People only explain when they think someone is capable of understanding. They realize too late that you no longer cared, whether they understood or not. Explanation is investment, and you made your last deposit. They hate that your absence is louder than your presence ever was. When you were there, they took your voice for granted. Now that you're gone, your silence echoes in every corner of their life. The absence hurts more than any argument ever would. They hate that you didn't curse their name, poison their reputation, or go around telling people what happened. You just left clean, calm, controlled, and now they must carry the weight alone because the villain they tried to paint you has never showed up. They hate that you healed. People comfortable with your pain feel threatened by your recovery. The moment you stop bleeding, their sense of superiority evaporated. Healing took away their leverage. Peace rewrote your story without needing them in it. They hate that your life didn't fall apart. In fact, it got better. New peace, new confidence, new clarity. Betrayal didn't destroy you, it transformed you, and watching you evolve. Without them is the punishment life gave them on your behalf. They hate that they now understand how replaceable they were, not because you told them, but because you moved on without hesitation. Replacement isn't finding someone new. Replacement is learning you never needed them in the first place. They hate that. They are stuck in the moment you left, while you've already entered a new chapter. They are frozen in regret. You are flowing with purpose. They are rewatching the past. You are writing the next page, and that difference hurts. They hate that you're not trying to make them regret losing you because you don't care if they do. Your life stopped revolving around their reaction, and nothing scares a manipulator more than losing emotional influence over the person they once controlled. They hate that they lost access to you, to your heart, your presence, your loyalty, your magic. They didn't lose just a person. They lost the version of you that would have done anything for them. And that version is dead, buried, and not coming back. They hate that your goodbye wasn't a scene. It was a decision, a calm, quiet, irreversible choice. Nothing is scarier than someone who leaves with peace, because peace means certainty, and certainty means you're not coming back. They hate that being done gives you more power than being angry ever could. Anger burns out. Being done doesn't. Anger fades. Being done lives forever. And now they must face the truth the hard way. The story is over, and you're the one who turned the final page. And the cruel poetic irony is this: they wanted a reaction to feel important, but by giving them nothing, you finally showed them their true value in your life. They hate that you didn't fight for the connection because it meant you realized something they never wanted you to see, that the relationship was already dying long before you left. And once a person finally sees what's true, pretending becomes impossible. You didn't abandon them. You just stopped lying to yourself. They hate that you no longer react to their presence. No tension, no emotional spike, no anger, no sadness, just neutrality. Indifference is terrifying because it means the heart has healed. And when the heart heals, the past loses its power. They never expected to become just another chapter, but here they are, collecting dust. They hate that they can't guilt trip you anymore. Guilt used to bend you, shame used to silence you, emotional pressure used to pull you back. But now those tricks bounce off you like bullets against steel. They lost their ability to move you, and that loss is something their ego can't swallow. They hate that you don't even want revenge. Revenge would still mean they live rent-free in your head. But you chose something much colder. You outgrew the battlefield entirely. Nothing crushes a person more than realizing they are no longer important enough to even hate. They hate the way you smile because they know they didn't put that smile there. Someone else did. Something else did. Your piece did. And that smile reminds them that they no longer have the emotional control they used to masterfully enjoy. They hate that you don't explain your silence. They want answers. They want closure. They want dialogue. But you learn the most dangerous truth of all. Silence is closure. Silence is explanation. Silence is a sentence passed without a trial, and they never saw it coming. They hate that the version of you they knew no longer exists. You shed your skin, your patterns, your emotional reflexes. You upgraded into someone who doesn't run toward the fire, someone who walks away from the building before it collapses. Growth is your revenge, and it burns. They hate that they don't know what you're thinking anymore. You used to be easy to read, emotional, expressive, available. Now your emotions are a locked vault and your thoughts are private property. They don't know what's happening in your world, and the unknown shakes there. Security. They hate that people still admire you despite everything they did to tear you down, despite the lies, despite the disrespect. You ended up earning respect they didn't see coming. It proves that your character was stronger than their injustice, and that realization is a knife in their pride. They hate that losing you wasn't mutual. You didn't lose anything when you walked away. You gained yourself, but they lost a person who truly cared for them, and they are now forced to live with the reality that their choices cost them someone who never planned to replace them easily. They hate that you don't care who they talk to, what they post, who they date, or what they do. Indifference is worse than jealousy. Indifference means emotional death, and watching you move on without emotional turbulence feels like a verdict they can't overturn.